Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting Lighthouse Live. And today we got another special guest. Last week we had Billy Bowman. Today we have a legend, Meta Puppet, the author of many award-winning videos, the legacy normal videos, as well as AI videos. So here's clearly the dude that goes well with trends, that go well with time, adapting and figuring out what works, what doesn't. So yeah, amazing. Meta, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, Luca, thanks for having me.
We'll have an exciting discussion today. So yeah, I'd love to start. First of all, this is Lighthouse Live, part of Lighthouse Academy, and each week we host special people in AI landscape, from creators to thought leaders to CEOs. We have very special names in the next couple of weeks, and of course, Meta Puppets is today's guest. Definitely check out our website, lighthouseacademy.ai. If you're interested in courses, gaining some more knowledge, we have 4 courses. Check out our website. I'm sure you will find something for yourself. Again, Meta, thank you so much for joining me. Let's do this again.
Pleasure.
All right.
Glad we got this on the books. We've been trying for a few months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Um, as always, I love to start with your story. How
Yeah.
did you happen? Of course, we know how you happened. Uh, we'll ask your mom and dad, but let's leave this for other time. So how you started in movies? You were editor, yeah? You probably
Yeah.
still are. So what's your background? Where did you study editing, or explain us a bit more about your.
Yeah, I went to film school 20 something years ago. I'm just getting over the flu, so I'm sorry if my voice is a little rough. But went to film school and did the screenwriting track, and I worked in traditional production and post production for, I don't know, 15 to 18 years. I jumped around a lot of departments early on in my early days. Started as a PA, went to camera department. I went to the sound department. Was a boom mic operator. I was a B camera operator. I got into post production, and I was an assistant there, and basically just worked my way in that way. Spent almost 15 years as a full time editor, also a writer at that same time. And I had a co-writer. We wrote a script. We won this big contest. We got signed to a Hollywood, literary agent. We were like, yes, we made it. Man, 10 years later, it's like the scripts were still like stuck in development hell. Just really tough to break in. And I started in that time, right around COVID, I started MetaPuppet as a YouTube channel to cover just like VR and metaverse stuff that was popular around that time. And I remember wearing the headset, the MetaQuest headset right there. I remember wearing it, and I was in like Decentraland, Sandbox, VR chat, and it felt like a puppet of myself in the metaverse. So I created MetaPuppet, and that was my avatar. And discovered Stable Diffusion in 2022, and was completely blown away by this tech that you could text something you wanted to see, and it would show you an image of it, albeit it wasn't a great image at that time. But really just fascinated by it. Started making videos about the tech, following it. As it got better and better, I realized, I have all these scripts. I can start to visualize some of these scenes that have lived in my head for years, and I started to do that. And I think 2023, fall of 2023, I was one of the 50 AI artists in our T2 remake, which was headed up by Nem Perez and Sway Molina, and we recreated the entire Terminator 2 movie scene by scene. And that was a lot of fun. That was my first introduction to the community, the AI community, many of which I'm still friends with, and I even work with Nem now at Promise. And kept making films in 2024. Got a commercial representation with Secret Level for AI films. Got to work on the Coke spot, the Holidays Are Coming spot back in 2024 with Dave Clark, who was a director on that. And yeah, I created a short film called Lemonade, which won the Culver Cup festival. It was a AI film festival. And after that, basically got a bunch of offers from traditional studios and AI studios. Promise was one of them. And in January of 2025, I accepted full time. And so I've been there 1 year. I've been full time director and head of genre at Promise. And that brings us to today.
Wow, great. So you are one of the successful AI filmmakers that did everything in the past. I think that, it's so refreshing that after 40 or 50 years of specializing, and when you come to an industry, you have to grab this one very, very tight area and study it and be best at it, right? And I always felt that this is not the way I want to, live because I was interested in so many things and I just couldn't lock that one thing that I want to specialize in, right?
Yeah.
And we were called Jack of all trades, masters of none.
Yeah.
But now, who's laughing now? Because I think that if you want to be successful AI creator, so like full stack, right? You have to know a lot of things. Just like you said, you have to know about writing, you have to know about cameras, you have to know about production and even post-production, because there are lots of times you work in post-production of your um, input videos are AI videos, and then you do post production, right?
Right.
So it's very nice to have so many interests and pack them into just one job, right?
Yeah.
um,
It's very interesting though. You said, jack of all trades, master of none. That's totally what it felt like. And for a long time, it felt like that was disappointing because when I was doing these different jobs in, sound department, camera department, I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. I know what I want to do. I want to direct. I want to write and direct, feature films. That was the goal getting into filmmaking. But I didn't know how to really get there. And so I was doing all these other jobs in different departments and it was cool, but it never gave me the career that I really wanted. But it gave me knowledge in each department enough so that when AI did come around, I was able to put all those that education together and then make short films that were decent. Like these were not, especially early on, the tech was not really blowing anybody away, right? It was great for social media, but I knew where this was going, and I was like, this is the future. And so, yeah, like you said, no, having that kind of experience in the background, that's why I'm where I am today. It's from that traditional background.
so what would you advise to kids nowadays that want to become, full stack AI artist is not my word I figured out. I think it was Daniel Botnariu. Anyway, the thing, what would be your advice to the new generation, to young people, how to get into it? Because, they don't have that much time that we used to have because we
Yeah.
had like, I don't know how old are you, but I think we are the same
I'm
year.
I'm 78 years old.
So I'm 1 year older than you, all right. So we had about 20 years to get to place we are now, right? Those kids don't have that much time because everything is moving so fast. So what
Yeah.
would be your advice? You can't work in a studio for 10 or 15 years to get all this knowledge.
Right.
So what should I do?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. I think the fundamentals of storytelling don't change. So you need to learn that. Promise acquired Curious Refuge, which is a great online learning school. They're offering AI courses, but also filmmaking courses. So that's one option. Yeah, I didn't have YouTube back then when I was in film school. The amount of information that we have at our fingertips is so vast today. But you need discipline and so I think a course like Curious Refuge is one place to learn. I think still traditional film schools, something like yeah, a 2 year thing. You also build a community, which is very important too. When you come out of film school, you have like a network, you know, that's very important. But social media, I hated social media, to be honest with you. You know, and obviously I'm still like torn on parts, but what it does is it allows you to put your work out there, and you can't really be afraid to be bad. Um, it's really tough and intimidating in the beginning because we all know there's like people just love to troll you and just, say
Right.
awful
Yeah. Yeah.
things. So I understand that. But what it did for me was the community was still very small. I think it is still kind of small, but I was able to reach out and work with some of them and share stuff, and you kind of like get support from a community. So I think if you look at those things combined, whether it's film school, whether it's online courses, a community, YouTube, you can just keep making stuff. These tools change, they update very, very quickly. It's like none of us can stay on top of it, how quickly they're updating. But fundamentals of storytelling, learn that, because that is not going to change. So that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. By the way, Curious Refuge, an excellent online school. I would just, also Lighthouse is really cool. The thing is that we are very, very, because you mentioned community, right? It's okay. I mean, I did it myself. I gained a lot of knowledge on YouTube, and it's free. And I watched videos at 2 or 3 a.m. I barely slept because I had to transfer that knowledge as soon as possible to my work, right?
Hmm.
But I did it myself, and now that we have community that has the same goals, that have the same appetite for knowledge, right? We at Lighthouse, we're very, very proud of our community because people are gathering together, working on the projects, and exchanging tips and tricks, and even what's golden is your experience in the past, right? It elevates your work. It gives you that edge. It gives you that confidence. And together we can create bigger and better stuff than working alone. So
Absolutely.
community is really, really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to January last year, you
Hmm.
signed contract with Promise.
Yep.
So how does, I mean, I'm working alone, and so many people I'm working with are also, working alone at their computer. So
Yeah.
how does working in a proper AI studio work?
Um,
How does it look like? Do you do 9 to 5? Do you do,
right.
how does it look like?
Yeah. Well, I was a solo creator for a while, and I wanted to be part of a company. With Promise, it is very much like a 9 to 5. All of last year, we are remote. I live in New York. The company is headquartered in Los Angeles, but we have artists that we work with in Europe, in Canada, in China. So, very remote and juggling those schedules, but we all keep basically 9 to 5, 40-hour work week, as well as we can. In production, if you're producing something, you have a deadline.
Yeah,
You got to do what you got to do.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But really, it's been amazing to work with, to collaborate with specialists.
Mm.
That's the one thing. It's like when I work on something myself as a solo creator, it's very personally satisfying, but it's exhausting. And yes, I have experience in different departments, but I'm not the best in every department. There's just no way. Also, when I work on something myself, it's pretty much 100% Gen AI. Although maybe I'll go out and shoot live photography, still frames as starting images, the way I did in my short film Kyra, and I can use that as starting images. But other than that, it's pretty much 100% Gen AI. Whereas when I'm working with a team at Promise, we've got traditional VFX artists, 3D artists. We're shooting live actors on sets, so we're doing hybrid production. And with that, you're working with a lot of specialists who are just, they're they elevate, like you said, they elevate the work because it's not something that I can do myself. So that's something that I really kind of craved, was to be part of a team and to collaborate with other people who are just, you know, great at what they do, and we can have a better project because of it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I remember when I was starting my production days back in 2008. I did all my projects myself, and I was a director for the first time in my life, right?
Mm,
And it feels really good because you have all the power, and you feel like you can direct other people and say, you do this, you do that. But soon you realize that you're working with pros,
yeah,
and it's a very, very humbling experience
yeah,
because you learn so much, and you know that you have to learn so much.
right,
And it never stops, man. It never stops.
yeah.
So how do you learn? How do you educate yourself? How do you test the new tools, the new technology? When do you find time?
Yeah, I guess before I joined Promise, it was every day. It was just keeping up with what was coming out, with new things that are coming out. Now at Promise, we have you know, a team of people, and we're able to use each other to get like, oh hey, check this out, or you know, have you tried this? We're very active on Discord, and we'll just be messaging each other if we're working on a project, trying to like you know, find different ways to the best way to solve something. I think it's been the most exciting job because we're also blending this with traditional VFX. Um, these systems don't naturally talk to each other. If you have like, you know, some AI tools and then you have like Blender or something, you know, you're or Nuke, right? Like we're coding, we're finding ways to make them talk to one another, to automate certain processes that, you know, that we don't want to do. Like we don't want AI to take away the enjoyable part of the job. We want it to take away the parts that are not enjoyable. And you know, with traditional VFX artists, I remember when this came around, they were the first ones that were like, "Ah, this is terrible. We hate AI." You know, because it was taking something that they loved. You know, it was creating high end visual effects, and I completely understand that. I don't ever use it for something that I love. My background is in writing and editing, and I write everything that I do, and everything that I've done, I've also edited. But I'll use it for production. That's just, you know, that's not my passion. And but what I see when I work with these visual artists, traditional visual artists at Promise, they are choosing to use it for the parts that they don't like, but they're still doing traditionally the part of the job that they have a passion for. I think that's the way to go. I think that's the way to use this to move forward. So it's been fun to see.
Yeah, it's. I also noticed myself that VFX artists and 3D artists are the first group that, feel the change
Right.
because they can see how not just how things are looking, but where this is going because the progress is so fast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you remember the first Will Smith spaghetti video,
Yeah, of
and
course.
now you don't know whether a video is real or it's AI. You really have to, look at it. I mean, on the small screen, you can see a lot of discrepancies and mistake on a big screen with the 4K monitors, of course.
Yeah.
But on a phone, you can't.
Right.
You can't. Yeah.
No. It's pretty funny. Didn't Will Smith post a video of himself actually eating spaghetti, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
because the
hilarious.
internet was full of that, and it's still kind of you know measure point for quality of AI. Not anymore. It used to be, of course, but it will always stick. That meme will always stick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say that VFX and 3D artists are the first that saw the change, what's coming, and I really do understand this because you trained yourself and you studied your you it's blood, sweat, and tears in your
Hmm.
work. And all of a sudden, you press a button and voila, of course, it's not pressing the button. By the way, did you see the video that it just pressed the button? It's
Yep.
amazing.
That was
Yeah,
funny.
perfect.
Yeah, that was great.
So I understand the fear. What I
Yeah.
don't understand is why aren't they motivated to learn? Because I mean, in every industry, you you have to learn always. You have to
Yeah.
learn about new stuff, about new techniques, about new stuff, And if you are smart, and most of VFX and 3D artists working in post productions are smart, they know that they have to learn. So why? What's your opinion? Um, why don't they invest their energy to learning instead of trolling and losing their minds over AI?
I think a lot of them are. I think a lot of them are, learning it. I think that there's a lot of passion and pride behind what they do. And like you said, they put in so much effort to learn what they do. And then here comes something where you just like, quote unquote, you press a button and it's creating these like spectacle visual effects, explosions and, all this Matrix like stuff. And yeah, I can see them being like just super dismissive of it because they spent a lot of their time and energy to learn how to do that. However, you have to adapt, right? I mean, so I think a lot of them are. I think there was a big PR issue around AI. AI is such a broad term. We've had machine learning in cinema for decades now. So I think basically, the VFX people that I work with, that's what they're doing. They're embracing that change. I'm working on a production with somebody who worked on the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, and he is like full on. It's another tech revolution, and he was around when CGI was the revolution, and so now it's AI, and there's a reason why he's here today and he's working and he loves what he's doing. It's because he's just open minded to whatever revolution comes around in tech. We wouldn't have cinema if we didn't have technology, right? We would still have live theater. That would be it. So technology has always been ingrained with filmmaking, and it'll continue to evolve. So yeah, I think you have to adapt for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to work as a compositor, and I can tell you how AI would come in handy back then, because
Yeah,
you need something on green screen. You had to go or create it in 3D, or you had to buy stock footage or whatnot. Now
yeah.
you just type it in, get it, and key it, and put it in, and composite it, and you're good to go, man. It's great.
Pitch
It's insane.
like pitch decks. I can't imagine going back doing pitch decks. I don't like doing pitch decks. Again, it goes back to what do you love to do, and if there's something you love to do, then do it. Don't let AI replace that, but it's great as an assistant to replace a lot of this other like pre-production stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, funny thing is that most haters to AI come from VFX and 3D, but also the most of people signing into Advanced Confi and Lighthouse Academy are actually VFX artists.
That's
So
great.
yeah,
I
so
mean, honestly, I mean, you tell me, but I feel like VFX people that are maybe not getting employed, or you talk about like losing jobs, they're really losing them to other VFX artists who are embracing AI.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
this is one thing that's going around for a couple of years now. AI won't take your job. The person who uses AI will take your job.
right.
So better get on with the plan. Yeah. So all right. What I wanted to ask you is the tools. Back in days, we had what? We had Midjourney and we had Runway and we had Stable Diffusion, of course. But
Yep.
Midjourney was the king, right? Because it had and still has one of the best
Yeah.
styles out there. Now you have gazillions different models you can use and combine so many things. It's just insane, right?
Yeah.
How about now? How do you pick your best tool, or do you have your favorite? Do you combine them? How do you do it? Which tools are the best and the greatest for you?
Yeah, I mean, we got to talk about Nano Banana Pro, right? Nano Banana. That changed things.
Yeah.
But I remember when Flux came out, and I really liked Flux. And what was I was using it on Foul.ai, and training Laura's things like that. And yeah, with Promise we partnered with Google, so I use Flow. That was another one when VO3 came out with dialogue and audio like baked right in. That for me was amazing because I've always my whole thing was doing narrative film, and so writing a script and then including the dialogue right in the text prompt and having your characters say it was a huge time saver. I remember when I made the short film Lemonade, I was really trying to get emotion out of the character, and to do dialogue back then, I was using Kling for that one. And I remember I would just prompt for the character to express whatever emotion I wanted, but then I would have to find a good clip that I liked, and then I would take the microphone. I would use 11 Labs, and I would try to time to like whatever the character was doing, and then I would run that through Kling, and Kling would match up the mouth. Just these steps have gotten easier with VO3, and now the other ones are doing dialogue as well. But Nano Banana for coverage, that's something as an editor, there's never enough coverage. And so now the way I work, starting to do, the grid, you've probably seen it, right? Where
Of
you
course.
basically prompt for a grid. And now it's giving you coverage in that grid, and then you'll say, okay, give me the top right or the bottom left or whatever.
Yeah,
So
when it
that
works, when it works.
when it works, Luca, you had a great example. I mean, you should share that one.
So
Yeah.
just intermezzo. I'm working on a project, and I wanted to create a grid of 9 images of 15th century soldiers trying to break the door of a fort with ram. So I gave it a reference image, and I said, give me 3 by 3 images of soldiers trying to break gates with ram. And it literally gave me the mother soldier holding a ram, an animal.
Yeah.
9 lovely images. So yeah, it works when it works. It mostly works, but sometimes you get some unwanted results.
You know what? And maybe that'll take your film in a different direction, you know? Um, I mean, sometimes that's happened where I've been working on a film and it shows me something that I don't want, but I'm like, wow, that's really good. And then it will kind of take it into a different direction. The one thing I really love about working with these tools is that even when I'm working on a solo project, you kind of feel like you're collaborating with the tool when you're speaking to it as if it's your director of photography. So if you're talking to an LLM, if you're using, whatever chat or Gemini, and you're saying, you know, I want this shot like this, and that natural language, the way you're talking, the way you would talk to a DP on set, and you're doing it with the tool, and it's giving you the prompt, and it's working, like going back and forth like that. To me, that's fun. I don't know. I mean, I really enjoy that, and yeah, I think it's the closest thing. It's not the same as working in person with a team, but it feels very close to that. And of course, at Promise, we do that. We do hybrid productions where we have DPs, and we do that as well. So that's been a lot of fun. I enjoy doing that a lot.
Mm. So, what's the difference between working in Promise and working on your own projects? First of all, free credits, right? That's a no-brainer. But you also get some perks for running for working with Promise for your own personal projects, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're still able to do personal stuff. I mean, I'm a lot busier, so I can't just do all personal, projects. But we're still, able to do personal projects, post them on social media, if something is really cool and if the rest of the team at Promise likes it, we'll bring it into development. I had that happen with a short film called Even Adam that I did last year, and people liked it. Thanks. And they were like, let's bring it into development. And so like, okay. So we'll bring that in. But with my day to day, I'm a director. I'm the head of genre, so that covers sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. And I get to work with these other directors, and that's been really cool. So I'm sure you know people like Uncanny Harry, Guillaume and Dale from Solo Twin,
Of course.
and Dave Clark. I work with every day. He's one of the co-founders of Promise.
Trying to get him on
Junie,
Lighthouse Live, by the way, if you can,
I'll ping
give
him.
a good word. We're
I'll
good.
put in a word. I'll
All
ping
right,
him and put in a
awesome.
word. He's a busy dude.
Yeah, I know.
But he never sleeps. It's his handle, right?
I
Afraid to
know.
sleep.
Afraid to sleep. He's afraid to sleep.
Yeah, but so yeah, getting to work with these other directors has been, that's something that you don't get when you're just working on your own project. And sometimes when you're working on your own project, you just kind of have blinders on, right, to the rest of the world, and you're so focused in something. Again, it's very personally satisfying, but it's also very like isolating. And yeah, so working with a team, I don't know that there's benefits to both. There's pros and cons. I like to go back and forth. I like, over the holiday break, I started working on a personal project. One thing I didn't mention, I was a musician for 10 years. I was in a touring band, and we did rock and metal. And I have all these songs, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
we yeah, look at the hold your hand up. Hold your hand up. That's fresh ink right there,
Yeah,
everybody.
it is.
That's
Can you read it? Can you read what it says?
Meta Puppet.
Close.
No, I'm just kidding.
It
No.
says imagine.
Oh, sweet. I can
Yeah,
see it now. That's actually not real, everybody. That's Ray 3 modified, so it's live action. That's like Runway Aleph. This is really he's got no tattoos.
exactly. I'm clean completely. This is just a demo that we're working on. So applying stuff on, live
Live
shootings.
on the
Yeah, yeah,
fly.
yeah.
We could use that.
Yeah, always. You
Oh,
have my
but
permission.
so
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 yeah,
yeah,
go on.
but music. So I started getting into Suno, and we have a bunch of tracks that we put out a couple albums. We have a bunch of tracks that we have practice recordings of, but we never went into the studio professionally recorded them. And so I started uploading those, and I was just like blown away by how the remix works. And so I would love to do a music video for one of my own songs from back in the day that never came out, and that would be like a cool personal project. Um, but yeah, different, totally different from the stuff we're doing. Promise when we're working hybrid productions and co-productions. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned you love working with other creators. But for personal projects, you have to work alone because, or maybe if someone likes your project, they join you, but usually we do it by ourselves.
Right.
But the thing is that I mean, it takes a big chunk of your life.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you have hobbies and family, it can affect the time with them. And it can also affect mental health because not just that, first, you have to work to get money to survive, right? Second, you well, not necessarily, but usually we love to work on our own for on our projects, the things that we do like. Third, you have to practice. You're doing that with your personal projects. You have to learn all the time about new stuff, getting educated, not just, reading about it, but also trying it and um, try to include it into your professional work. And
Yeah.
the fifth thing is, of course, you have to take care of your social network, your social, um, well, the Facebooks and Instagrams and
Social media.
social media. Thank you. You have to
Yeah.
upload. You have to comment. You have to answer on comments. You have to like other stuff. And
Yeah.
this all adds up, and it affects your mental health.
Oh yeah.
I think that in this industry, I think in all industries, but this industry particular, we don't even have time to talk about this. But
Yeah.
I feel that we really have to start because it is taking toll on our health.
Oh yeah.
How do you handle this? Do you have a therapist? Do you have a support group? Do you have family?
Yeah, all of that. And I'm also in my 40s, right? When I was in my 20s, it was much more dangerous, I think, because I didn't have the discipline. You know, I've set boundaries now. I'm able to say no. Like saying no is a huge thing when you're especially if you're self-employed or if you're working for yourself. I did this. I was an independent contractor for years as an editor, and it's hard to say no because you're afraid you're going to miss out on something and you know. So really when you value yourself and your time and you say what I'm bringing to the table is very valuable and you give yourself boundaries to help, like you said, your mental health, you find that like really what you're scared of are people like moving on from you. It actually makes them want you more, because they want the same for themselves. They feel like they're losing or they're falling behind all the time too, and then they see somebody saying no and they're like, wow, this is somebody who's not afraid, to say no. And I think that's a positive thing. You got to set boundaries for yourself. And I can tell you, man, working on Nemonade and Kyra, these two short films that were very personal to me, they were both 3-week productions, and as soon as I was done, I got sick after both of them. Like literally the next day, I was sick. And it was because I was just pushing myself so much to finish these films. It was exhausting and very very satisfying, but exhausting. And I think that's an example where you push yourself to the limit, you're going to get burnt out. And social media, when I'm deep in a project like that, I'm basically gone from social media. And I'm not great to begin with in terms of posting stuff, but that took a toll on me mentally. Always feeling like you're falling behind. I remember even last year, it's like if there was a gap of putting out something of posting something, you feel like you're falling behind or like people are forgetting about you or something. And I remember I'm like I'm with Promise. There's things we can't talk about. There's things we can't post because we're in production on things. Uh, and I remember it came to a point where I was like, what am I doing? I feel like, oh, I haven't posted in a bit. It's like I need that hit of dopamine or something, but really it was like I have a full-time job. I have a career. I'm doing productions here, but just not posting, it felt like I was invisible. And it's like, well, I'm building Meta Puppet. I have to post, but it's like, really, it's like, you really don't. I mean, if it's to the detriment of your own mental health, that's not a good thing. So it's you have to have balance, but I do think that it takes time. I think it's harder when you're younger. I think having a community, a support system, and family, that's super important, and therapists as well.
Yeah, I had same issues last year where I had to decide what I want to do because, back in days when in AI you could do everything. You could research, you could test, you could work on projects, you could do everything. But now everything is, it's pacing. It has a faster pace. And you can't do so. Last year, January, I had to decide what I want to do. Do I want to be a researcher? Do I want to be in production? Do I want to be, So I went to education. So I gave up quite a lot of things that I wanted to do, but you just can't do everything. It
No,
it it breaks you. It just does. Um,
no.
so yeah, by the way, I think it was Paula Vivas from Fripic that wrote a brilliant article. I think it was today or yesterday.
Oh yeah,
Find it on the LinkedIn. Not sure. I will post the link a bit later. But
yeah,
it's the things that you were saying. It's not that you're missing stuff. It's the fear of becoming irrelevant. That
totally.
that no one will know who you are, and I mean, last year I had a really good run. I went from 10 to 20,000 followers on LinkedIn, right? And the fear was there. if I stop doing this, no one will know about me. I will just, be a memory in someone's mind, right? But I realized that it doesn't matter. Just do what you want to do and you will stay relevant. Maybe not for the masses, but for the people who care for
Well,
you and follow you closely, you will be always relevant.
yeah, but you'll also be happy because if you're make make what you want to make, right? Whenever I'm making something, it's something that I want to make, and so the satisfaction comes in the project. It comes in doing it. Actually, like finishing the project and putting it out, it's nice when people you get likes and all that, but there's a point after that where you feel like, what's next? What am I going to do now? And I don't know what to do. Really, being in the project and making it, that to me is probably the best feeling because I feel productive and I feel like I have a goal and I'm trying to achieve that goal. It's when you finish it, it's very satisfying and rewarding to put it out. But there could be a point where, like you said, if I got to get on to the next thing, otherwise I'm going to be invisible and I'll disappear. That kind of pressure is not healthy. And yeah, if you just do make the stuff that you like to make, do it for yourself, and it's great if other people like it. But that shouldn't be the reason.
Exactly, the 100%. I just remember something. I was reading an article ages ago. This music producer, he said that I think maybe it was Trent Reznor, not sure, but
Hmm.
he said that he's sitting on years and years of unreleased music.
I bet.
And why? Why don't you release it? Because I'm not happy with it. So
Hmm.
when are you happy with your piece of work? When do you stop working on it? When do you say you won't say it's perfect because it's never perfect because
Yeah.
we are so pedantic and so, um, detail oriented that nothing is perfect. So when do
Yeah.
you draw the line and say good enough?
When my wife tells me to stop and put it out, that's it. She's like, just stop, just put it out. I'm only half kidding. I mean, it's great to have a partner who is not into technology at all, and she'll watch it and she just cares about the story and the characters, and that's the way it should be. She doesn't care about the technology or how many generations it took to achieve something. She'll tell me what's good, she'll tell me what's bad, and then it's kind of like, okay, put it out. It's like it's good. So it helps like it helps me kind of gauge where it's at. Of course, if something really bothers me, I'm going to fix it. But to answer your question for real, you have to share it with other people, offline, get feedback, and that'll help you as you're finishing it up. I think that's very helpful. Or else just put it away. You got to sleep on it too. Sometimes I'll be working all day on something and I just can't see what's wrong, and I'll just put it away. I'll go to sleep. I'll try not to think about it. And the next morning I'll watch it, and within 5 seconds I can immediately see what's wrong. You have to step back sometimes, and you can use your community. That's where community comes in, and don't be afraid to share. If I never reached out and put myself out there with our T2 remake and got into the community, I wouldn't be here today. I don't, I'd probably be okay doing something, who knows, but you got to put yourself out there, and having a community of people, whether it's through education, whether it's through social media, whether it's your own friends and family in person, is essential. And so I think that helps, that'll help when something is good, bad, ready, not ready. You need other eyes on it.
Where do you get your inspiration as a writer, as an art director?
Interesting. Well, as a writer, that's been like a lifelong thing. That's since I was a kid. I remember trying to write a novel when I was like 10 years old. And it was about a boy running away from home. And so essentially it was me, right? And I wanted to see the world. And I remember one summer I started writing this novel and I got up to where the boy ran away. He left home. And I remember from that point on, I was like, I have no idea what to write because I was 10 years old. and I had no idea what was out in the world. And so I remember thinking, I guess I have to live. I guess I have to like, live and experience things so that I can write about them. And that kind of stays with me because everything that I've done, different jobs that I've worked, different experiences that I've had, they're all kind of like inspiration. They're all fuel. You'll never know. I was a bartender for years, and you'd
It's
meet
great for
people.
social skills, man. That's insanely good for
It's
social skills. Yeah.
it's huge, and you'd meet people from around the world, and they would open up to you, and they'd just tell you stories, and these are characters. I would write, in my phone, I would go to the notes app and I would just drop like a description of a character in a sentence, and that's a character that I can use later. Like that's inspiration. I think you can find inspiration everywhere, just walking around, and if you're looking for it, I think it's just somebody, if you're observing or observant, you can find inspiration in a lot of things. So yeah, for me, I guess that's where it came. But it started at an early age. I wanted to be a writer, so
How about art direction? How do you know what looks good?
that's where I think it was my weakest thing, and I think getting into because I never really cared about that when I was doing other. I was never in the art department or anything, and then doing AI video, I'd post stuff and people would point out all the things, and they're not wrong. But I just didn't care about them. So this is where when you work with a team, that's why you have an art director. That's why you have different people who are specialists in those fields, because you're not going to be the best at everything. So, but I have learned to uh, start training my eye for that, and that's been one of the things that I've been trying to improve is the visual style, to get better and better because that's something where I felt like I'd never really put a focus on before.
Mm. Um, People, if you do have any questions, just post them in comments. I'm observing. Hey Kevin, hey Renee, hey Miriam. So if you do have any questions, shoot them in, and we'll get to you. Okay. How about virality? You had a couple of viral moments, yeah? How,
Yeah, I just
what,
had one over the weekend. I had the flu, so
of course,
full viral. Yeah,
you went fully viral, yeah, but
yeah.
no numbers. Just
No,
what's how
no likes.
what's the number of degrees in United States when you have fever? Here in the metric system, it's
Yeah,
37 to 38.
98 is normal, and then if you're over 100, like I have an 8-year-old daughter, if it's over 100, they send her home from school.
Okay, yeah. But I was thinking about the other virality, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So you had a couple of moments. How did they change your work? How did they change your path? Because, for example, we have friend Blair,
Mhm.
and his Adidas floral video really changed his life. It 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 went berserk, right? And he
Yeah.
hasn't stopped from back then. So shout out to Blair Vermette. How did you cope with this?
Well, I didn't have that level of virality. I was already hired at Promise. I always looked at myself more as a storyteller and filmmaker than an influencer. And when I had some viral moments, I can't say that it was very cool. It was very like appreciated. I can't say that it changed really anything about how I go on doing things. One thing about gaining followers is that I feel like I can't do some things that are really stupid, silly things. I feel like I can't do them anymore. Like I want to start an anonymous channel just to do all the stupid
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Because it's like, now you've built a bit of a reputation. So that's one thing. But yeah, in my day to day, no, I don't think it's really affected me. But again, I haven't had some huge, it was cool. I had Elon Musk comment on one of my videos. Like that was cool.
Yeah, yeah. Which
But I
video was
haven't
that?
the plastic video, the boy, the boy who's plastic and he grows up and it becomes a meta kind of experience.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the comments.
And I think that was, that was right when VO3 came out. And I was, when I was making that was last June, I think. And when I was making that, I was so surprised by the physics, the way that it handled physics. This little baby bottle boy, and it was like, putting food and water, and it was like containing it in the right way, and I was just like blown away by it. So I think it came out at the right time, because people hadn't really seen that. Like now, it's crazy. You can see the craziest stuff right now and like barely blink. You're like, yeah, yeah, it's cool, you know. And like 1 year ago, it's just would be mind blowing.
I think it's different 1 year ago and now, because now we have completely legit video models that you can do, I don't know, 3 or 4 runs, and one of them will be perfect, right? I had a chat with Kevin the Kid last year, and he said, if I'm not getting the right stuff from 5 generations, then I'm changing my prompt. And
Yeah,
something wrong with my prompt, most probably, right?
right.
So, but thing is that last year, for example, when all those new models were coming out, people were working on projects, right, with one model, and then a new thing came out, and they were on the verge of redoing the whole thing with the new
Oh,
model
I did
because it
that. I
was
did
so
that.
better, right?
I redid a whole. I was completely done with this trailer, and I redid the whole thing. Yeah, shot for shot.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. Would you do it
I just
again?
felt like I had to. It was. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if we will be getting another surge of quality as we had last year.
Right.
I mean, we've gone from, let's say, 70% to 90%, right?
Yeah.
And now we'll be chasing those 6% for a year, and then
Incremental.
another 2% for a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
It's not going to be as eye opening as
no,
they were leaps before, and now they're steps.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We do have a question from Miriam, and
Cool.
she's asking, what are your biggest workflow or tech obstacles that you wish would be solved this year?
Well, actually, we didn't talk about this, but restrictions.
Oh, yeah.
This goes with that, right? I try to make family friendly stuff. Like even at Promise, I pitched a family friendly movie. You can't like kids. It's really really difficult to do kids, and we understand why, but it's so restrictive. And to tell a kid story, that's very difficult. Yeah, yeah, and man, I don't know. So
Dude, last year I
that's
had a project, and the commercial was the 7-year-old kid in his swimming suit in a pool.
oh yeah, never.
I'm sorry, you
You
wanted to
know,
say something.
but you find ways around it. And on that film Even Adam that I did, they're both I think 10 years old, and I had to use. I remember in the prompt I used something like 4 foot tall humanoid in children's clothes, and that worked for the visuals, but not for the dialogue. They wouldn't do the audio, so I had to get around doing that and do the lip sync. Traditionally, limitations, lip sync and character consistency. Those were the traditional problems. We've had made huge strides in character consistency and lip sync. I think one of the things Kling motion control and Luma Ray 3 modify, like doing video to video style transfer, it's getting to the point, it's getting so much better where it's picking up micro expressions that I do see a future, not the only future, but a future where actors are doing their performances from their home, from a green screen, and you're able to like restyle this video and use it in a streaming or one day a theatrical release. Like I think that the technology will get there.
Yeah, I talked about this over a year ago, that face acting will become a whole industry. That
Yeah.
that acting will be done in post-production studios with the director. So you could, you could hire a big name, and they won't have to act as much as they're doing it now, because you will have professional actors um, working just on the face acting. That's it. No motion, no no running, no that kind of stuff. No, just face acting.
Well, voice acting as well. Voice
Voice
acting
acting as
would
well.
be
Exactly.
huge.
Yeah.
But I think that it doesn't take away any of the real acting. I think that I say real acting, but I mean what you're talking about, full body running, all that. I think that that can still exist and will exist. It just depends on budget and depends on what people want. None of this needs to destroy that, right? Like we can have both, and then people will choose what they want to make and what they want to see.
Exactly. Rennie, hi Rennie, is asking, I find it hard to get real emotions in AI movies. What is your recipe for real good emotions in AI films?
Well, you a lot of times they tend to overact, and so man, I remember even with the dialogue, if you have a line, if you have a sentence like "call the police," and you want the character to say it real subdued, the actor will be like, "Call the police," yeah, right. And you can tell now, you can tell they do the same mannerisms and expressions. And that's why I think it's good to have different tools. We don't want one homogenized look. Otherwise, every acting performance will be the same. So using saying like he whispers the line or something like that, it does things that you don't expect, and you'll still have to run through some generations. Sometimes it likes to sing out of nowhere. The character will just sing the line, and I'd have to be like, no singing, no music. I mean, it's a you don't know what you're going to get sometimes, but you will get a gem every now and then. But I think yeah, using certain talking to it, like whisper the line, yeah, things like that tend to help it from overacting.
Mm. I got another tip, Renee, for you. Um, Describe the feeling, not just he
Hmm.
is looking out of the window sad with sad expression on his face. Give an example. He's looking out of the window and his face is sad as his puppy would just die. This is how you get much better realism regarding feelings.
That's good. You know what else is interesting? Like LTX2, they just came out with that
Yeah,
audio driven
yeah,
video.
yeah.
So if the audio recording you have has a certain emotion in it,
It'll
the
pick it
video
up.
should capture that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, dude, this was very cool. We are nearing to an end. Um, of course, I have to say it. That I'm very bad at this. CDAs were always my bad side. But if you want to educate yourself, come check us out on Lighthouse Academy AI. And we have four cohorts. One is already running, Advanced Confi. Then we have Basic Confi, which I am mentoring personally, and we're starting next Monday. We have AI for creative leaders, and we have completely transformed all of our courses. So it's not just about tools anymore. The tools are becoming very easy to use. So we're not spending that much time to explain how those tools work. We are more addressing the human centric view of the industry, how to behave, how to consume news, how to consume technology, how to find the clients, how to handle expectations. So, all those things that you can't learn in YouTube tutorials, of course. So, absolutely give us a check out. Visit our website. And of course, we have the fourth one that started today, AI for Architects. It's pretty huge in architecture. So, yeah, check us out. And we still have a couple of seats left. So be quick. And yeah,
It sounds awesome.
yeah. Meta, this was a pleasure. We should do it again. I'm always
Yes.
for part two. So
For
when you have
sure.
something, that you want to promote, I'm always your fan and ready to host you on our lives. So
It was
thank
my
you
my
again.
pleasure.
It was same. It was a great pleasure, and I'll chat to you soon. Everybody, thank you for joining, and hope you had fun. We have another live session next week. The reveal will come in tomorrow, but it's again pretty good name. And yeah, check us out. All right. Thank you so
Awesome.
much again. Bye bye.
Thank you.